Hello friends, welcome to my channel. So I'm sure you're wondering what is going on here. So this is the first time I've ever tried to record like this. So I have just picked up my very first nail mail from one of you sweet friends. So thank you so very much to Miss Cynthia. I will be showing that to you guys in a bit. I don't know how well this is going to come out or anything because I'm just sitting in my car just to have more privacy, but I thought I'd give you guys a little bit of a view. So, and we've had so much pollen, you can't really see too great outside the window, but also I'm not sure how the audio is going to do, but I'm going to try my best. So a little bit ago, I had somebody ask me, how did I meet my husband? And they didn't know if I'd ever shared the story, and so I then got to thinking, well, you guys might want to know, who is Mr. Jen? So I thought we would just chat about it. And I figured it'd be much easier for me to do it this way because I lose my concentration when I'm doing my nails. It's hard for me to keep my train of thought. So I figured, well, let's just do this. So we're just sitting at this park here. So what do you get when a Cajun Catholic meets a Texas Baptist? Well, friends, you get a Mr. Jen. So he is 7 years older than me. So basically when he was in first grade, I was born. But I've heard of much worse because my parents had a huge age gap, but they were happy and they were married for right under 34 years when my dad passed away. So, you know, sometimes it ain't about the age. So Mr. Jen was born and partially raised in Louisiana. I was born and raised and been here in Texas all my life. Now, when I met him, I wouldn't have thought that he was from Louisiana. I wouldn't have known because he just sounded like everybody else I'm used to hearing. He didn't have like a Cajun accent or anything. Now, he is from South Louisiana, and a lot of them do have an accent, but he didn't. And it actually is, I didn't think most of his family didn't either, except his grandfather had a very deep one. It was really neat to listen to him talk. But, so, because of my husband's job, no, excuse me, because of my husband's dad's job, they have to move often, so they had moved different states. So I know he's been in Wyoming, which he really loved the nature there. They lived in Arkansas, and Texas twice. So I kid you not, somebody literally just had to come park right beside me. Hold on. Okay, they're just going to sit somewhere. I'm just like that. I like, you know, like you try to just, I don't know. This is my first time to like record like this, so I'm kind of nervous. And I don't want to look like I'm just talking to myself, even though I kind of am, but it's okay. Okay, so yeah. So I said they, went to Texas, moved to Texas twice. So when I was like, well, let me start here. So him and his family had lived in one town, and I had a friend that lived in a town near them that I would hang out with a lot and stay with her. So at some point, my husband and his brother had moved across from her, and she and I had been outside hanging out, and his brother actually come over to talk to us, and he introduced us to my now husband, and that's where it all started. Now, I don't talk a lot on here about, I don't even know, I guess I haven't talked much about it at all, about my faith, just because I don't want anybody to ever feel like I'm pushing my own personal thoughts and feelings, beliefs on them. But I was raised Baptist and he was raised Catholic. At the time that we met, neither of us were very what do I want to call that? Like, I mean, of course, we're the same religion. We're just different denominations, and neither of us were like going consistently to church. So it wasn't like, I mean, obviously we talked about it because we knew like if we were to ever have children, which we do, that would be something to talk about. I could see like if you're somebody that's super devoted into your specific denomination where it could be difficult, and I'm not saying there weren't some things that come up, but we, at the time, it was, not a big deal. So I mentioned before, after we got married, it wasn't long after I was expecting our first baby, and so when I met him, listen, I feel like I worry sometimes because I know some people may not like certain things, and but this is just, my story, and this is how it happened. But when I first met him, he was worked at a jail, so he had started a law enforcement career. So after our first child was born, a little later, I knew he wanted to go into the academy. He wanted to be on the street. That was his dream. And so he did do that. I was super anxious about it because it's scary. I mean, things happen. So, but I knew that going into it, that's what he wanted to do. So then I had to switch that mindset from being scared to just being supportive. So that's what he did. He went on the street, and that he loved it. That was his dream job. And he did that for 21 years, somewhere right in there. So I'm going to be jumping because there's just like little things that can go into this. So I had dealt with my own health problems and honestly, I felt so sick, I didn't know if I was going to be here for watching my kids graduate. So when my daughter was going to be graduating high school, I was praying a lot and kind of just begging God to allow me to be here for watching her graduate, and if possible my son to graduate. And thankfully he did give me that blessing. So what I didn't know was that it might not be me that was going to be able to watch her graduate. So let me just also throw this in there. My dad, I've mentioned to you guys, he passed away 10 years ago. It was really hard because he was my emotional support system in life and kind of spiritual guider in life. So I look to him a lot. So he had, at separate times, he had one quadruple open heart surgery, bypass surgery. Another time he had a heart valve replacement. Both times he did not do well. Both times we almost lost him. The second one, he also had a mini stroke after, and that was a whole ordeal. So I have spent many a times in the in the ICU, while trying to go just through the normal things in life. He also had really bad diabetes, not from lack of trying to take care of himself, but just the diabetes just was too much, and that creates so many health problems. So he also had his kidneys failed him, so he was on dialysis. If you don't know what that is, basically you're hooked up to you have a line attached to you, and you either have to go in clinic or you have to go do it at home, to where you have to be hooked up to this machine. It's kind of like being on a leash, really. So shout out to my mom for being his at-home nurse so that he could at least be at home. So anyway, and then he was the third time, which would have been his last time to be in ICU, this just went on and on and on for years. There's a lot of things, and a lot of it was extremely emotional, extremely stressful. I have honestly a lot of trauma, which all this is a whole nother subject. The reason this is important is because right before my daughter graduated high school, so I know my husband dealt with a lot of stress. I mean, that it is a stressful job, and y'all know over the years things just, get worse. So he had a milkshake, and he come home, he told me he had this milkshake and that he wasn't feeling well. And he started hurting real bad in his stomach. Well, I was trying to help my daughter with something that was going on before graduation, and my mama happened to be with us at the house at this time. So she kindly took him to the ER for me, so he'd have somebody with him while I was helping her. And so basically it was like he had food poisoning, and the doctor there had mentioned that my husband said his chest hurt, and my husband was like, no, I was saying my stomach hurt up higher, not my chest. He said, well, I have it written down, so we'll just, you're gonna have to get a stress test before you can go back to work or do certain activities at work or something like that. So we had to wait for the stress test, and I'm thinking I think that might have been right after she graduated at this point. So went for the stress test. Well, it was inconclusive. So I'm kind of thinking at this point, okay, well, this means that's a good thing because they didn't find anything. So the doctor said, let's do a heart cath, which I was familiar with, all these things because of my dad. So he couldn't have anything to eat beforehand or anything. So he was like, we'll get something after, just making plans or whatever. So he, for some reason, something was taking a long time, and the medicine to help you go to sleep during it had worn off by that time. So he was awake while it was happening. It didn't hurt or anything, but the doctor that did it was explaining to him as he was going throughout it. Well, when they bring my husband back to the room I was waiting in, I could tell by the look on his face, this ain't right. And he says, call my mom. So I'm thinking, oh no. Because his family at this point, they're back in Louisiana. So I'm like, what's going on? He's like, I'm gonna have to have surgery. Well, I go into basically losing it because I'm thinking all these horrible things because of all the trauma I went through with watching my dad and all the many things that happened. So the nurse is like, okay, look, I'm gonna give you a few minutes to get it together, but and I understand, but he's gonna need your support, and of course I knew that and was gonna give it, but I was like, I don't know, just in that zone. So she's like, your husband's young, which at this time he's the age I am now. He was 43. He's young. I think, he should be fine. And I said, well, I don't want to be by myself. And she said, well, no, you shouldn't be by yourself, because my son was like 8th grade, or just finished 8th grade. So I was going to have, my mom be with them, and I have a small family around here. So I didn't know who was going to be able to be with me. So basically, the surgeon and the heart doctor come in and say, so this is what we're looking at. He has 4 major blockages. So we're talking 80%, 90%, including the widowmaker. Yeah. So if you don't know what the widowmaker is, it's the one that'll immediately take you out. So they said, you can go to work and get stressed out, and that's going to be it. There's no coming back. So that, of course, I'm even more upset. So basically, they're like, okay, we're taking you in for surgery in the morning. Trying to, give his parents time to get here. So I'm thinking at this time, I'm going to be by myself, not knowing if they're going to get there, on time or whatever. So obviously we call them. Well, I call him, we're talking to him. He's just my husband's laying there, obviously in shock, but also he's still talking. And so they're like, okay, well, we'll be on our way. So we leave from there just because I don't know actually why they let him leave. This was just like the heart facility. It wasn't, like the actual hospital at this point. So I went home to, of course, pack to get prepared. My mom got there, waiting for his parents to come, trying to prepare my kids. So okay. Anyway, so we do the surgery in the next morning, and it was a bit of a different experience than it was with my dad. Well, a lot different, because thank God he did not have the complications that my dad had. So that's scary though, Anyway, so after that, he was of course off work for some time. And then he did go back, and just through the next few years, things just got tougher, and there were a lot of things going on just inside. I'll leave it at that. So, but he loved his job. He loved the community. The community loved him. I had people throughout the years that would tell me how much they liked him, because he showed them like kindness and respect. And I'm sure it depends on the call and the situation, but they would have a nickname for him because he was the one they liked, or one of the ones that they liked. So I always appreciated that. But anyway, the stress was too much, and he had already, God gave him the chance to still be here with us. So, and I was terrified too, because my husband was the financial provider for us. I was a stay-at-home mom, I mentioned before, for various reasons. And also because of that, we didn't have to pay for daycare and such. But did we struggle financially at times? Absolutely. It was hard. But the benefit for me was I got to be with my kids. I got a very close relationship with them. I got to go to the school activities and take them to all their appointments and go to ARD meetings at school. And let me just tell you, if you have any parents that go to regular ARD meetings, they probably could use some support and some love. Because there's a lot of little things that I'm not including that go into play with all that too. So, there's just a lot of things. But, so yes, so he was our financial provider. I was the, stay home, do the house, take care of the kids sort of thing. So without him, I don't know what we would have done, to be honest. I guess we would have had to go to one of our parents' house at this point. I mean, we weren't, like I said, one income. It's a struggle. We wouldn't have been able to get by, I'm sure. So anyway, okay, so he was there for, like I said, 21-ish years. And lots of praying, things have happened, things come up, and basically he retired from there, and he does security, which has been so far a lot less stress. It's pretty chill. He enjoys it, and so here we are. Yeah, so that's Mr. Jen. So we've been married now for 25 years. Long time. But we both come from kind of, I guess, traditional households, in the sense of, like, his parents, I guess, have been married, I think, for I'm gonna say 56-ish years now. They met when they were teenagers, so they are long time sweethearts. And then my parents, like I said, had been married 34 years, right under 34 whenever my dad passed. So as far as my faith, you know, I'm not, like I said, I'm not here to push faith on anybody. That's each and every person's own free will to make those choices and decisions for themselves. And I'm the type that I'm going to be kind and respectful to anybody. It doesn't matter who you are. That's just, you know, I don't see the need in, you know, making anything be an issue in the sense of, oh, well, I'm gonna be mean or whatever because you don't agree and all that. No, that's not me. So I'm sure later I'll be like, oh, I should have also told them about da da da. I'm trying to think of anything right now. You know, I will say, I realize, I just want to point this out because I don't want anybody to think, oh, well, you know, because I'm talking about being married for many years. Listen, it varies relationship to relationship. Sometimes things just can't work out. There's all kinds of issues that can go into play for that. You have to have two people that are committed. You know, it can't happen with just one person. It's got to be two people that both want the same thing, you know. Even then, any relationship, whether it's a friendship or relationship, there's going to be difficulties. There's going to be ups and downs. There's going to be things you got to work through. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, sometimes it's really rough, but that's just, you know, that's just life. That's just part of it. But I just wanted to, you know, mention that because sometimes I think people feel that you're like, that's sunshine and rainbows, and no, it's not. We all go through things. Even the ones that have been married many years or their whole life, you know, there's issues. You may not even think there'd be issues, and there's issues. But yeah, we have 2 children I've mentioned before. They are both young adults. My goodness, I feel like I'm getting so old. I am 43, which I've mentioned before, but I don't ever know what new friends we have here. But that's all I can think of for now. You know, I'm happy to answer any questions you guys have. So I do hope you enjoyed this video. I know it was very much quite different. And we'll see, maybe we'll do more at some point. But thank you so very much for watching. Greatly appreciate it. Until the next one, have a blessed day. Bye.